Coming up next, one of the most distinct voices in rock history breaks down his prog rock classic. It's become a hit with the current generation as a meme. The story of a 70s gem, next on Professor of Rock, brought to you by Zenni Eyewear. Hey, music junkies. Professor of Rock, always here to celebrate the greatest artists and the greatest songs of all time. If the greatest music of the rock and roll era is your bag, you'll want to join this community by subscribing to this channel below so you don't miss out on our daily episodes, always celebrating the greatest artists and the greatest songs from that time. Also, support our mission of curating the history, interviews, and the stories behind these songs by becoming a patron. Now, I'm excited to bring you another episode from our series, Revelations, where featured artists, of course, reveal rare stories about their biggest songs, along with fascinating insight about their careers. On this installment of Revelations, so honored to present episode 1 of our recent Zoom session with Jon Anderson, the incredible voice with the story behind the 70s masterpiece, Roundabout, as well as some insight behind his latest solo album, 1,000 Hands. Now, we ask you to bear with us a little as the Zoom connection had some audio and technical issues, happens sometimes, but we're so honored to have this insight from a legend such as Jon. Here it is. Well, in 1971, 4th studio album release, Fragile. Let's talk about Roundabout, just a classic. Your Scottish jig, as you affectionately call it.
Yeah. Well, it was written in Scotland, yeah.
Fascinating piece of rock symphony where the band really just showcases that gift for deceptive cadence, breaking conventional song structure. Every band member's brilliant on the song. Tell me about writing it and recording it.
Well, me and Steve started writing it on the way down from Aberdeen to Glasgow. And you go down this one road, and there's about 15 roundabouts on the way down. Everywhere you went, there's a roundabout again, you know. So he started playing the guitar, and I'll be a roundabout to make you out now. We were going to go and do a last gig. We've been on tour for about 3 weeks, and it was our last show in Glasgow. So in 24 hours, we'll be back home in London. 24 before my love, I'll be there with you, sort of thing. And it's all sketched out in the car on the way down in the van. And then we went in the studio a couple of days later, and me and Steve sort of got it going, got it together, and Chris joined in. And I said, why don't we start, Steve, why don't you just play something very, in the key of what we're doing, just play some introduction for it, and he did. And I think within a couple of hours, we recorded, and then I said, we need to get a middle section, stanza. I'd call it a stanza, Da, 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 sing something, and then somebody would pick it up. Rick was in the band, and the interesting thing about Rick was that he was so music. He studied music at the Royal College of Music. He could play anything. So you just ask him to play stuff, and he'd just play, perfect, because we never heard anybody play so good, And we just threw it in there, and all that. Very, it's very Scottish. It is. It's like a real. Especially the solo. See, these old things with, Steve had already played that a day earlier, and I had it on cassette, and I said, listen to what you played yesterday. Throw that in the middle, and then he goes to the keyboard, organ, rock and roll. And then come back to that, So in some ways, it was a joy to work with the musicians. I found the same thing last year when I worked with the musicians from Orlando area who came on the road with me doing 1,000 Hands. I was able to have 8 musicians listening to me eagerly about how we should do Starship Trooper in the middle of Yours No Disgrace. Make it sound like a big band. I said, yeah, we could do this because we've got a drum, we've got a keyboard player who plays trombone, we have a sax player. You just give them sound effects and all of a sudden we have a big band over here. Oh, we have a great violin player here with a full orchestra choir. Oh my God, you know. So it's always been my enjoyment of creating as a group is being able to suggest ideas, not tell them you got to play this. No, let's try this out. Let's give this a whirl, you know. So Fragile was totally an album of invention. I remember we did a song. I thought Chris got a bass solo here somewhere. I think it was The Fish. Coming out of, was it Long Distance Run Around? Something like that?
Long distance run around.
So Long Distance Run Around, again, well, the song was all about, the confusion of religion and sort of things like that. And then thinking about, okay, just need to go into something for the ending of the song. Chris, you take over and do a bass solo. You know, just throw it at it, you know. It's very rare that you get a bass solo in a rock band, you know. Boom, 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 boom. And off he went. So while he was working that out with Bill Bruford and Stephen and Rick, I went downstairs in the studio downstairs, which usually had ELP. They were making an album, and they weren't there that day. So I used the studio, and I did this vocal thing where I was had a tempo drum sort of groove track. And I just started singing, tell the moon to tell the marcher, tell the moon to, over and over. And then he is here, he is here. So We Have Heaven became that, you see. So it was just like an adventure. And I do this all the time now. I've been doing it it's on the 1,000 Hands. I've been doing it for the last 30 years. Where I have time on my hands, I'll just do some lizationing, I call it. And I think when I'd done that, and then Steve did Mood for a Day one morning, he was just playing it. You know, I'm saying, what are you doing? Oh, I wrote this last night. I said, let's record it. Go on. And we recorded it with nothing but him, you know. I said, this is the idea. It's an album with about 4 big songs and 5 sort of 4 other small events. It's called small events, but Rick wanted to do Cans and Brahms because he could play Brahms like there's no tomorrow. And that's how that album eventually became what it was.
Well, on Roundabout, when Rick Wakeman, I mean, he's superb playing on so many multiple instruments, but especially the organ solo. And then there's that really creative idea for the intro that Rick had where he played a note on the piano that was recorded and played backwards.
Yeah, I don't know who, I think it was the engineer came up with the idea. At that time, there was a lot of messing around with backward everything. Because the Beach beat on it a couple of times on the great track was Tomorrow Never Knows. That was a real, but what the hell is going on there? So we tried a couple of things, and I don't know who suggested piano, but somebody said, just do a big chord like the end of Day in the Life, you know, and just play it backwards. And we did, and went,
yeah. Gave the beginning of the song that feeling of what Steve Howe called the feeling that it's rushing toward you, right?
Yeah, it's a great idea.
Well, incredible bass line from Chris Squire. I mean, it's no wonder that Geddy Lee and other acclaimed bassists have given him so much praise. He was just one of a kind.
Very unique. You know.
Roundabout started off as a guitar instrumental, right?
I think Roundabout was a song me and Steve wrote in the car coming down from Aberdeen to Glasgow, and then we recorded it 2 days later as a song. That maybe, you know, time flies. People have different interpretations of what happened, but as far as I remember, that's what happened.
Well, and the scenic beauty of Scotland, I always read that was an inspiration.
Well, we were driving down this very 2-lane road, and coming out of the what looked like you had the mountains coming out right above the road, coming out like that, and you couldn't see the top of the mountains because the clouds were so low. So I wrote it down. Clouds are coming out of the sky and they're standing right there, you know, sort of thing. I was sketching down all ideas. By the time we got to record it, I'd meshed up a lot of ideas about what it was like in and around the lake. You go around Lake Lomond, and then another lake, and then, you know, that's the way it worked. You know?
I always heard it was a reference to Loch Ness, right?
Yeah.
Is that true?
Loch Lomond, yeah. Call it Lake Lomond, but it was Loch Lomond.
What does Roundabout symbolize in the meaning of the song? I always wondered.
Oh, I'll be the roundabout. You know, I'm there up there on stage singing to you because I am the roundabout. We are, you know.
I'll be the roundabout, words make you out.
I'll always be there for you. You know, I don't know. I'll be the roundabout. The words will make you out and out. So the words are just making you out and out. You don't know what they really mean. I spend the day your way. I'm here to sing to you. I'm here to give you songs. Sort of thing.
Well, Roundabout was a surprise hit. Rose to number 13 on the Billboard Hot 172, and the album version, of course, 8 minutes long. The single version edited down to 3:27, as radio is wanted to do.
Yeah.
What was your feeling about that? That was probably a little frustrating because you've got this masterpiece and got to whittle it down.
Well, we were amazed that it was on the radio. We didn't know it was being released. And I just got in touch with somebody at Atlantic Records saying, yeah, you put the record out. What happened to the middle section? He said, oh, we just edited it down, you know. I said, yeah, I know. What can we do? You know, it's okay. But it was still there. Getting a lot of energy from that. And it saved the band, I think, the fact that we had a hit record. And it pushed us on to doing more adventurous music in the infinite coming future, if you like.
Well, it's being introduced to a new generation. John, the other day I was driving about a week ago with my kids on a little trip, and I was playing Roundabout, and they're like, Dad, I would love this song. This is a song from this meme. They or this YouTube thing that they watched. They were trying to explain it to me.
Yeah.
I was a proud father at that moment.
Cool. Well, you know, one of the things that I remember that period, because for some reason I felt that I was too old and we were too old to be pop stars. So let's just keep writing these long pieces of music and have this adventurous musical style, you know. Because it's working for the audiences. The audiences didn't give a damn. You know, they sat there for 10 minutes and listened to Starship Trooper. They loved it. So by the time we went close to the edge, it obviously opened up more. It's the way we were.
Well, and it was used in Almost Famous as well. That was cool. What'd you think about that?
Sure. We were never written down as a commercial band. We were written down as a, you know, prog rock band, and you had to want to go and sit there for 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 20 minutes at a time listening to this band perform, which is very sort of rare. And we kept it going, because if you think about, yes, we kept going through disco, punk, whatever else happened, we kept going, doing
New
our
wave.
music. Yeah, we did our music and our style all the way through the 70s. And like any band worth its salt, we fell apart at the end. You know, we were exhausted, emotionally, musically exhausted. And so we have a break. And then Chris picked up the pieces in 90125 with Alan White and Woody. So they asked me to join because they wanted to call it Yes. And I said, okay. I listened to the tracks and thought they were amazing, and I just joined the band. Thought it was going to be damn fun, that's for sure. 2 years ago, we started releasing the album that I started 30 years ago now. So that is 1,000 Hands. And life makes me realize that if it's good music, it's timeless. It doesn't matter. You know? And this is good music. And we added one or two different tracks on it, some of the vocalizationing that I was doing. And but the 2/3 of the album is from the Big Bear Sessions, which was, it was very funny when we did it. It was very funny. We had a wonderful time up in the mountains. And it was winter, so I went skiing every day, and then felt really up to making these songs. And eventually make them into an album. One wouldn't believe that it would take another 28 years or 30 years.
Hey, thanks for watching. Much more to come from Jon Anderson and our 2-hour interview. Leave us a comment about Yes and this classic song below, and about Jon Anderson, one of the greatest vocalists of all time. And also to get Jon Anderson's latest record, 1,000 Hands, and other Yes classics, you can click on the links below. If you like our content, we invite you to subscribe below to become a part of this community. Also, support us on Patreon to keep curating the history of these great songs and these incredible artists. Help us keep the music alive. Until next time, the records and the truth, my friends.